Hard work. Hard work. Hard work. Hard work. Work. There you go.
Forward.
Hard work. Hard work.
Yeah, we got.
Hard work.
Yeah, it's 6 teams in the Pac-12. That's great.
Forward.
So we're going to play. We got. It's like we're like the last of it. It's like the new. It's like the new. It's like the new what's called. So I'm very sure if y'all can hear, this is what I have to put up with. Even though this man is not on the show, I still have to put up with the tomfoolery in which he discusses and talks about. So our topic right now, of course, if y'all are able to hear, as y'all see as I hold his phone, is that he's talking about USC is not playing nobody. Mind you, the Pac-12 has 6 of 25 teams in the rankings, but we're not playing anybody. 13-0 in the first season, in the first part of the season, that we're not playing anybody. See, this is what I have to put up with day in, day out. And which, if y'all don't know it or not, it's been that way for like about 15 years or more, counting 20 years for the most part. This is what I have to put up with. In any case, y'all know what it is. Trade a commission, first formation, rocking with your favorite vets on the nets. Of course, like I said, always looking forward to jumping on here to discuss and see what's going on and talk about what's popping in sports for the most part. Special treat today. We're going to be tapping in.
I got to get to work.
The NBA Military Basketball Association, as they come and impart some wisdom to us about what they got going on. As we know, next week it's going down the Coaches Summit as well as the NBA All-Star Game. So that's going to be a treat, of course, next week. So a couple of things went down in the in the realm of basketball. When you look at it, we saw, of course, we already know Team USA in FIBA play punched their ticket to complete against Germany for a chance to go to the FIBA World Cup Championship. Then you run that back, you flip it. You got Canada held up Slovenia as they will face off against Serbia on their side of the bracket. One of the two teams will be going to the championship to face off against the winner of the USA Germany game, and then of course the losers of those two games will face off for the consolation or third place prize. So of course we're going to rap about that a little bit. What is the chances of Team USA winning or losing that game versus Germany? And then of course, who do we think would be more of a challenge, Team Serbia or Team Canada, in which I think Team Canada might be that, because that's more conducive to what they face, as Canada has a few of the NBA players in their own right. So, of course, yesterday, great news as the San Francisco 49ers will have their team defensive stalwart in the building. Of course, coming up this Sunday, as we know, that's when they play. We all know that the games start prior to that, but Nick Bosa signs a 5-year, $170 million contract, which basically alludes to him receiving $34 million a year, 5 years, guaranteed $122 million. It comes on. I have to look at it a couple of ways, right? In my opinion, I have to look at it one as a player. I mean, as a person that looks at as a fan or as an analyst when you look at this. And I don't know how to feel about this. Like, I'm glad that Nick Bosa is back in the fold. Hopefully he's been working out, doing what he's got to do, because we all know in those instances, it takes anything. Once he gets on that field, it becomes a different type of movement. It becomes a different type of resistance, and him not being present throughout the whole training camp or out any other thing, not being present may have put him in the position to where his, saying certain things might need a little tweaking. So hopefully he has some people in place that kind of like took care of him, put him in a position to make sure that if and when this situation happened, he'd be readily available. I'm sure they probably might have a walkthrough today to go over some things. He's back in the building, and then of course probably fly out or get ready to go, if not already done that, to be there in Pittsburgh. So I'm up, is ready to see it. It's going down, but again, the other part that I guess I'll touch on after this, because of course you still have the situation with Jones, defensive end, for the Kansas City Chiefs, in which now he's on the clock when you look at it, or the Chiefs are on the clock, and now that puts it in a situation to where now the Chiefs have to answer the bell on what it is that Jones is trying to receive, Chris Jones, and then if depending upon now what you see Bosa's numbers. Are the Chiefs willing to pay the same or anything similar to that for the most part? Are they going to it? Are they going to answer the bell? Like one, and then which is puts it really in perspective. As we all know, tonight is the beginning of the NFL season, to where the Chiefs face off against the Detroit Lions, although they're at home. Um, The expectation is that Chris Jones, he said if they was able to get a deal accomplished, that he'll be ready to play. I think we're past that time, and I definitely think we can clearly and concisely say that we won't see Chris Jones play tonight. We might be up now that resets the clock and continues to reset the clock every week to where we will see a potential Chris Jones sighting. I don't know if he is in Kansas City, or if he is in some other place, saying, waiting to get the call to say, okay, this is what we're going to do. All things suffice, and then coming back in. So in that, I see a trend, in my opinion, when it comes down to the these players. Like, it's always going to come up, because it's going to continually and always come up as a situation to where these players are going to continuously the players are going to continuously be seen as, well, I'm not going to even say they're seen as, the players are continuously going to continue to be looked in and ridiculed, and it comes back to where it's seemingly always looking like, is this going to be a situation to where players are seeing, and and I think I have the perfect person to have this conversation with. Of course, y'all all know him. He's been on the show before, tapped in. Commissioner Mike Meyers of the Military Basketball Association, gracing us with his presence this morning. What's going on, Commissioner?
Hey, what's going on? Can you hear me okay?
No. Yes, sir. Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
How's it going?
I'm good, sir. How's it going with you?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
What's going on, Mike? What's going on? Glad to see you this morning, brother. I'll have to stop past your by your office one day. So I was just, before we get in and talk about NBA, I was just going over and talking about the whole. I really think, I'm not gonna say it's a problem, but I really think that there's a situation that's going on that's coming somewhat, and not to use the term in lightly, a pandemic in sports for the most part, to where it seems to be, or is just more so on tap now, and a problem with leagues and players, to where the players feel that they have the power, in which in some cases we do. We just see Nick Bosa decide to hold up and hold out. I'm not going to sit up and play, even though I have a year left on my contract. I'm not going to play. And then, of course, his value, I guess the value's on display, got him 170 million over the course of 5 years. Now you have Chris Jones, similar situation. I'm not going to play until y'all sit up and give me another contract. Although I'm already still under contract. You have Chandler Jones, similar situation. We had the similar situations in the NBA where players is like, I'm not playing. I want to be traded. I'm not doing this. James Harden, not right now. Why do you think is this an empowerment thing, or this is a fight for power? What's your take on this?
No, at the end of the day, it's a money thing.
Okay.
It's a money thing, and um, I had this crazy conversation with Rick Barry,
Okay.
and he and I we were we had lunch. We were talking about how um, guys want the bag or they want the money, but they're not winning, you
Mm.
know, and so and then there's some cases where guys actually are winning and they deserve every single dollar that an organization can get them. But I mean, we're talking about $170 million over what, a couple
5 years.
years?
5 years.
Yeah, that is
34 million a year,
it's 34.
122
Yeah,
guaranteed. Yeah.
that is those are some phenomenal amounts of money for you to do what you do. And then and in some cases, some of these guys can't even stay out of trouble.
Mm.
So um, I think it depends on the organization. I think what the thing that I believe that athletes kind of um, fall into this part, is that they don't they feel like they're the only one. Um, there's just something unique about them, but you don't understand. There's people training right now to take your spot, and so when you hold out because of whatever you want more money, right? What happens is you're no longer practicing, you're no longer getting yourself staying competitive, and somebody else comes along that can do exactly what you do, and then they pay him
Mm-hmm.
or her. And so I think uh, I think there's a lot of things that the leagues are doing to try to help cater to the players, um, but this individualism has kind of taken over our society where people are no longer really concerned about a team, and winning as a team, and winning for that matter. They're more concerned about, how much someone can pay you. And the owners are like, well, if you're going to pack the house, if our games are going to be sold out every single game for this season, that's our Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So they've taken the calculation and said, all right, cool, we will we'll we'll forego any of that and we'll just pay you because we're going to get the returns in the long run. But I just don't like I don't like the individualism in sports, and that's at all levels.
Mm.
I just don't like it. There's a lot of me, and there's not a lot of focus on the team concept.
Mm. And that's the organization, the team, and everything like that. In which it can come, and like you say, definitely in different levels. In which, of course, is a little bit different. Even when you look at it from the military basketball aspect of it, being in this continuously, it seems to be issues and problems in one way or matter. I think actually have
What
a show
what
some.
what issues and problems?
I don't know, but I think I'm going to hear about it. I was just about to say I have a show. We have a show coming up actually tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, 1800, where is a couple of individuals that have something to say. And I assume it's a problem yet again. I'm trying to figure out why. I don't know, but it's going to
Just
hear.
just
It's going
spit
to
it
hear.
out, man.
It's
Just
going to
spit it
hear.
out. Tell me.
I didn't hear it yet. I got a coach that tapped in, that called me, gave me a call. He was like, "Hey, if you ever," and I was like, "We don't have to wait." I was like, "We can, make it happen." And he was like, "Okay." So I had to have a full conversation with him yet to see, but obviously there's some issues or problems that's going on still in
I
military
mean,
basketball.
okay, so I want to put some rumors out, okay?
Okay,
Mike Meyers is not coaching anymore.
okay,
I've done my I'm not I'm not coaching, but you know, I don't know about military basketball. I can really speak on, you know, what we're doing in the NBA,
Mm-hmm.
and the way our structure is now. The coaches have a platform and they have a voice. You know, I mean, um, I used to be kind of, you know, trying to handle all these different things, and coaches, you know, some coaches still call me, and you know, they that's their right, and they can do that, if they're gonna, you know, if they have a question about something. But a lot of times, I kind of defer a lot of my questions to the great team that we got in place. You know, I mean, um, and we have to, our organization is predicated on, you know, having rules and having things set in place that make us different and unique from everything else. And we support installation based basketball. You know,
Mm-hmm.
whether you're a fan of that or not, that really, you know, that's what we are. You know, and sometimes people kind of want to. Sometimes folks will uh, want to be part of something, but they just don't have all the information, you know. And so, our job is to educate people and tell them what we are, what we're about, where we're going, and we're going to do that at the Coaches Summit, because we've made a lot of progress. You know, we've made
Mm-hmm.
a lot of progress, and so now, um, but you know, if you haven't been doing this for as long as me, and I see Jason just joined, you know, the guys on my team, you know, I've known them for over a decade, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and Jason and I, like I said, we met in war. Like we were actually in combat together. And Jason was a hell of a ball player. And so, um, when it comes to, you know, putting this out, this has been war games. What do you say, Jason? Jason says, devil's advocated. We've, you know, we've come to a consensus of really just trying to do what's right for installation basketball, and that's all we can do and support. That's what we are. And if things kind of get away from that, you know, we put some things in place to kind of handle that, and the right people have that, you know, have some of those issues. I don't know what the issue is.
Mm-hmm.
I just know that I'm open to having a discussion with folks about, um because it's our job to kind of mentor some of the younger coaches that are coming to league. You know, it's our job. You know, everybody's not, um hasn't had the same, you know, been through the same things that say some of our more seasoned veteran coaches are. But I will say this: I don't think I think, you know, coaches just need to coach their team. And you know, I kind of said a little bit of something about that this morning on my post. Um, you know, I don't really care. Like when I was coaching, and Jason can tell you this. When I was coaching, I didn't care who I played on the other side. If it was Morgan or Al, freaking Ace, you know, I coached against them. I didn't care who they had.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who was on their team. You know, Ace walked into Fort Riley gym, and his players were freaking ducking to get into the
Getting through the door.
to get to get to get through the door. They were, and but I didn't care because, you know, I worry about what I got and what I do and the philosophy that I put on the floor. And, you know, coaches just need to coach their team, and players just need to play. And everything will kind of settle itself on the basketball court. And then let us guys at the top, you know, let us call the balls and strikes. You know, we got this. You know, we can do it. And I don't call balls and strikes. The only thing I'm worried about is, like, you know, you see what I'm doing. I'm trying to put us on the biggest platforms that we can. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm focused on. But Jason, and I'm gonna let him speak on it, but Jason and Al, they really, they do the unseen work. All of us do unseen work, but what they do is get down in the weeds and kind of call the balls and strikes for things. And that's important. It's really important for their work is important. It shouldn't be, it's not a hand wave. And believe me, there are, they're not fights, but there are very, very candid, open discussions about the operations of our basketball, about for our league. So
Mm-hmm.
I hope that that kind of helps solve some of that. But you know, and I'm prepared to answer any questions that anybody has when it comes to stuff like that. I can tell you what I think, but I can't tell you what Jason and Al are going to do or the basketball council is going to do. I could just tell you, hey, this is what I think. But yeah.
Jason, what's good this morning, man?
Hey, good morning. I was about to say, what did I walk into? Did I not see a landmine or something?
No. I was just asking the question. We was going talking about the I guess what it initially started off was we was discussing talking about how players in the NFL, NBA, and stuff like that. How is it becoming a situation to where it's them against the leagues with the situations like Joey Bosa 170 after a holdout when he's still in the contract, that type of stuff in which we discussed. It comes in different shapes, forms, and sizes to where it went into. I was like, okay, yeah, because tomorrow afternoon I have a show scheduled on the COB, so where as a couple of coaches I believe have some things to say. As the again talking about military basketball, I was like, I haven't necessarily heard exactly what it is, but we'll see tomorrow. So and then that's when he started alluding to what it is and what y'all do in the NBA and how things come apart, and then that's when you walked into it.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, news to me. I'm good. I mean, 816-248-2918. That's my phone number. Everybody knows if they're in one of the conferences and you got a question about anything, rules, bylaws, eligibility, what we're doing next season, what color uniforms you want to wear, illegal numbers, call me. I don't understand. I mean, but again, I understand. I do understand today's outlets. Trey, you are one of those outlets. So if coaches feel that they need to come on or want to come on and have a discussion with you, I mean, that's their right by all means. But if they want to affect change, call me. Me and Al, that's the ones you're going to talk to. If you're in the NBA, if you have an issue, a gripe, a moan, a complaint, something you just want to talk about, a question you have, our phone lines are always open. My email is open. Hit me up on the chat. It don't matter. They want me. Look, if you want me to come back on tomorrow, I've got no problems, man. I'm retired. I got all the time in the world.
I'm retired too. Where my DD 214 at? It's around here somewhere. I got it. It's around here somewhere.
That's what
Mike, I'm surprised Mike don't have the blanket. The DD 214 blanket.
Wait. It's a blanket?
Yeah, it's a blanket.
Yeah, there's a blanket.
I would be so warmth that I would get from that blanket.
So,
but I want to say this, Trey, just to let you say something. I don't know who the coaches are. I don't know what's gonna, but it is. I think it would be a detriment if they were to come on and say these things to the public without first giving the leadership the opportunity to, answer their questions. I think that's fair. I'm not.
That's okay, Mike.
No, but I'm just saying it'd be like, oh, this is the first time, because you don't even know. You have no idea.
I have no idea.
And
I have no clue, but I like I said, I have no problem coming on tomorrow to hear whatever these coaches have to say. If they're NBA coaches, great. If they're not NBA coaches, great. I'm good, man. I'm here to. One thing that everybody knows from military basketball is I ain't running from nobody. I'll talk to anybody that wants to talk. I really don't have a problem with it. So whatever coaches it is, I mean, if it's an issue, it's an issue. We'll talk it out. We'll figure it out. If it's not, it's not. It doesn't bother me one way or the other. I'm not that guy. So whatever they want to have a conversation about, I'm here to talk and listen. I know Al is too, but I know Al's in a meeting right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I got no issues. I mean, right now, I'm going to be honest with you. I think as far as the NBA goes right now, everything to me is looking on the up and up.
We on cloud nine right now.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the stuff has not come out yet because it has not been finalized, or, we're dotting I's and crossing T's, but, obviously our 50-meter target is the All-Star game. And, I know I don't want to steal Al's thunder, and I know he's not here to talk it much, but I mean, we're looking forward to September 16th to the coaches conference and the All-Star game. I mean, I just updated the website this morning, mynbaglobal.com, to put the All-Star rosters on there with the All-Star. I created the link to the All-Star game That way, when people want to watch it, because it will be live streamed, they just go to our website, click on the link, and it'll take them right out to the game that's going to be televised. The players are now sending in their headshots and their action photos for me to update the rosters so that they have photos and action photos on there, because, we're trying to make this thing look as professional as possible. And, we want people to go to it and be like, oh, wow, look at this, man. They got the East, the West, Team Harris, Team Ortega, all the pictures are there. Hey, look, there's this guy, there's that guy, there's the celebrity coach, there's a Hall of Fame coach. Oh, I didn't know this guy was still around, So, we're just trying to put a good product on the table. And so that, to me, that's my 50-meter target right now is next week, September 16th.
So
go ahead.
So I would, it was a couple of things. It was actually a few things in which Commissioner Meyers said that brought a couple of questions to me, and then, of course, some things in which Jason just said. So when you look at this, right, what the thing that Jason just said, in which when we was talking about, like, we have military basketball, we have the Military Basketball Association, so one and the same but two different entities. Is it fair to say, or even say that if there's stank on the military in this military basketball community or the genre or the culture, is it possible to separate that as the NBA? Is it to be a way to not be involved in any of that or whatsoever?
The analytics that we get doesn't say that.
Okay.
It does not. Okay. So I'm just in that space of military basketball, we've done a very good job.
Yes.
And I'll talk a little bit about that at the Coaches Summit. I won't put anything out here, but we've done a very good job of maintaining a positive light, and trying to, promote the game. Right now, different entities. I see Mike's out there. No matter what people say about NNBT or what the guys do in San Antonio, they're promoting the game. They're promoting military basketball. We can't, it could be, it's different. People may like it, may not. People may not like what we do. They may say, well, the NBA is too stringent. It's just base basketball. They may not be quote unquote fans, right? But at the end of the day, we're doing our part 9 months out of the year to promote these athletes. Now, I would say this: we are promoting the athletes. And we're not doing it, like Paramount's doing it. Different other
yes, I see it. Yeah,
other entities are starting to put the spotlight on the athletes, and so that's what we've been trying to do all along, and that's what's kind of given us a little bit of success. But no, there's no stank. There's going to be some deterrence. People that don't like me or Jason or Al or Ace or people within our organization. But for the most part, if there was something like that was really, really negative, you don't get a multi-year deal with the oldest broadcasting company in the country if there's some stank or there's something out there. And our platform is for everyone. Okay, it is not just for teams in the NBA. It is. We want people who are doing military basketball to literally get out there and try to get on our platform, and the person to call is Mr. Fasciano and Mr. Mayon.
And it goes back to what you was just saying. Basically, is open there. Unfortunately, is based upon being on an installation team, in which if your installation doesn't have a team, or for whatever reason, that's unfortunate because now you can't play. But is there a answer to that?
That's not true, Trey.
Okay.
True.
Let's get the 411.
So as most people know,
Trey getting the side questions in the text.
Yeah. if your installation does not have a team, right? Per our eligibility bylaws, you are authorized to go to the next closest MBA team to play with them. Now, that could be 10 minutes down the road. That could be 2 hours down the road. That coach has the option to bring you in as an exception. We have a certain amount of exceptions that you can have on your team, whether it be GS civilians, contractors, veterans, dependents, or active duty service members from the next closest installation. Okay. So if that coach decides to maybe forego his dependent or GS civilian or contractor to take up a slot for a ball player, an active duty ball player at the next closest base, that's his choice to GM that team how he wants. But there is options for players or installations that don't have players. I will caveat that and say, if there's 5 guys at another installation and they're just not trying to put a team together, they're not going to get all 5 guys to the next closest base because you're only allowed up to 3 exemptions anyway. So I would promote them to go ahead and do the work and start a team if there's that many. Right. But onesies and twosies, there's a onesies and twosies because trust me, man, we know, we've all been there. We know that all installations are not created equal. All sports departments are not created equal. We know that there's going to be onesies and twosies that have no help. They're on a spot where there's I'll give you, for instance, Fort Riley, Fort Leavenworth. Riley's had a team for years. When was the last time anyone heard Fort Leavenworth with a post team? You haven't. So if there's
2011.
Okay, that's right. He's talking 13 years ago. So if a guy at Leavenworth, and I'm only speaking that because I'm in this area, if a guy at Leavenworth wanted to play, the Fort Riley coach could have him picked up as an exemption to their team. So again, there is a way. Not only is there a way for players, but there's also a way for geographically dislocated teams. And we're working that one as well.
And you know what? That's funny you say that because the first thing that comes to mind is JBLM. And it's there is almost virtually nothing out there to where for them to compete. And then they have to come down the coastline.
Go ahead, Jay. You got that one too.
So yeah, that's everything that we've been talking about this summer. Without saying too much, I will tell you there is a path for the JBLMs, the Minot Air Force bases, the ones that are geographically dislocated from a conference, where, like you said, it's way too far for them to travel or way too far for teams to travel up to them for conference games. We have a path for geographically dislocated teams. And if you don't know if you're a geographically dislocated team, you could call me and I will let you know. And then we will work a path for your base team.
Or you can check Google Maps. And you might be geographically dislocated.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, but we have a path for them to get games and then to earn their way into a conference tournament, which would then by default put them into the NBA playoffs because that's where the NBA playoffs start as a conference tournament.
So one thing about that though, right? So those are for teams out in Minot, JBLM. You could argue there's some other, some bases in Utah maybe. But here's where the guys, and I hope people are watching, if you're listening. The NBA we're just a different platform, but if you are around where our conference teams are, then just play in our conference. Because the more teams that play in our conference, you shorten the distance of travel, and now everybody's kind of it's like a pool, and we're doing the right thing. That's your path. If you're staying out because you're geographically dislocated, Jason just gave an answer for you. If you're staying out for other reasons, but you're 1 hour, 2 hours down the road from an NBA team, and you could be hosting, or you could go to their place and host. That's something totally different. And that doesn't help military basketball, right? That does not help. It means that, you could do your part like all of us are, right? By hosting or doing whatever, but you choose not to. And that's okay. We respect that. But, at the same time, just respect what we do. Respect the fact that we're trying to get everybody on a higher platform.
So to go back to something you asked earlier, Trey, about military basketball and the NBA. I honestly think military basketball and the NBA are, in a roundabout way, they're one and the same because it's a lot of the same ball players. It's military. The NBA is military, part of military basketball. It's a different platform. I like to relate it to the NBA and FIBA and USA basketball. They're the TBL, they're different platforms is all they are. So obviously Well, if you're in Europe, you're going to try to come to the NBA, but if you can't, you're going to play in one of the leagues over there, or in a league in Mexico, or a league in Argentina, or something like that. It's still basketball, but it's just a different platform. And the NBA, when you come into the NBA,
Yeah, look, there's a path for everyone to get to what we're doing. And so, what we don't want to do is create this great path. Oh, Jason froze. We don't want to create this great path, and then all of a sudden, it because we've grown grown the platform. We still can't change our core principles. We can't change what people like about what we're doing, and installation community basketball is what we're about. That's what we do. It doesn't matter. So I would love to know what some of these concerns or exceptions are, or what they're saying, but at the end of the day, we just have to keep driving forward, and you're not going to be able to please everybody, but we got to try, and we have to listen, right? Nobody would listen to me back in the day. I was like, all right, I had ideas, and what I wanted people to know, I guess, when I come on here is, if you have an idea, and you bring it to us, then we'll action it. John Morgan said, hey, man, a Hall of Fame might be a pretty cool idea. And I was like, man, that's cool. You know what we do is take your idea and make it into a reality. And it's not our reality, it's a reality for everybody. But I do think that there's a lot of ideas out there, and if we didn't have a path or place where these ideas could go, then I think we would be hurting ourselves. But sometimes, just because it's your idea doesn't mean that we're going to adopt it or accept it, and it might have an issue. Do you feel the NBA is about inclusiveness or exclusivity, Mike Meyers? It's a little bit of both. Okay? Because when you say,
what was the question?
If Trey can put it back up there, do you feel the NBA is about inclusiveness or exclusivity? I believe it's about inclusiveness. Like I said, we want as many people out there, as many teams to join the NBA as we can. But exclusive, absolutely, we're exclusive.
When you're done, I want to answer.
Yeah. When we're exclusive in the fact that we require we require orders. We want people to have orders and ID card, because military basketball is just that. It's for the military. There's a scourge out there of people that are dealing with harmful behaviors and prevention, problems and suicide and all that stuff. If we're not attacking that, if that's not the reason, that's the reason why I coached, right? If that's not why we're coaching, then maybe if we're just doing it for whatever and we're not making an impact on people, then that's not the space that this organization, this league is in. But are we exclusive? Hell yeah. We're the only. CBS didn't say, hey, okay, we want the championship game on CBS, and oh, by the way, you can put it on NBC. No, they want exclusivity with us. And I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, no problem. That's not a problem for me. So there are some areas where we're going to have some unique things about our organization that are that make us special. They make us great. And so, that's a great question. I hope I answered it for you, because yeah, we're about inclusiveness. If we weren't about inclusiveness, I don't think Jason would have all these coaches coming to. This is the largest coaches summit that we've ever had, and that's to include the ones that were sponsored by the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is the largest one we've ever had.
So go ahead, Jason.
Hold on, Trey. To answer that question, I mean, I would say the NBA is inclusive to base level basketball.
That's right.
Installation basketball. Okay. There is not one team out there that can come up on the net, pop up on your show and say the NBA won't let us in. And if they do, it's probably because they don't want to conform to our rules and bylaws, because every organization has their rules and bylaws. We're not saying you can't play. We're just saying these are rules, these are bylaws. If you want to come in, this is how you have to play. So inclusive in that aspect. And like Mike said, it's exclusive to an organization like CBS because they wanted exclusivity, not that we exclude anybody. You know, if you want to play in the NBA, if your team wants to play in the NBA, again, call my line. Drop me in line. I don't care. I mean, however you want to do it, we'll have the conversation. We'll talk about it and we'll see how we get you in. I have never, and I challenge anyone to say that I've ever said somebody, you're not going to be in the NBA. Or you can't be in the conference because we just don't want you or I don't want you. So, what did they say? What Justin said?
Define installation.
Define installation. Okay, so I'll say this. So, installation basketball, again, I'll use Fort Riley where I'm at. Fort Riley is the installation. Okay, that's the installation that has the post basketball team. Now, let's not kid ourselves. There are some unique situations.
Unique situations.
Where you have the government, the military, Department of Defense classifying certain locations as joint bases.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, you know, joint base Meyer Henderson Hall, joint base Langley Eustis, joint base San Antonio. You know, we didn't classify them like that. The government did. So that would obviously have to be talked through a little more on how that installation looks. But if you're taking installation at its basic level, installation basketball is a Fort Riley, a Fort Hood, you know, places like that. That's the installation. There's nobody else around them but that. You know, I'll even get a Fort Carson, Peterson Air Force Base. Those are two installations in the same city that have two installation basketball teams. It, you know, like they're not considered a joint base. They're not, you know, whatever. Peterson is now what? Space base. So it's comprised of more than just Peterson. It's Peterson, Shriver, and I forgot the third one. But you know, that's considered their installation. So
yeah,
I mean, it's not just a clear answer, is what I guess I'm trying to say. It's unique by situation, but it's something that we work with to define. To answer Justin's question, what the definition, we define it based off of your location, and then we say, hey, this is where you are. This is what your installation looks like. This is the pool or the area you can pull from.
So in that being said, taking into consideration, like you just said, specifically Joint Base San Antonio, 3 installations. So they have the opportunity potentially to have 3 teams in or around the area, or does that mean just, or they can try to make one?
So here we go. Are they calling themselves Joint Base San Antonio? And is that what the orders of those soldiers say, JBSA? Or do the orders of those soldiers say Fort Sam, assigned to Lackland, assigned to Randolph separately?
Okay. And don't forget, some of us were AG. Okay.
Right. So
some of us know what orders look like.
Right. So let's talk about San Antonio, like you just said, Trey. Right now, we know there's currently 2 teams down there. One at Fort Sam, one at Lackland. Now, if they were, you know, Fort Sam, you know, Justin's working through that right now. But if you're calling yourselves Fort Sam Houston, and that's the orders of what your players say, then great. You know, if you're calling yourself Lackland Air Force Base and those are where your guys are from, then great. But if you're going to call yourself Joint Base San Antonio and your guys' orders say that, well, then that's a little bit of a different story. You know, it's JBSA is JBSA. You know, where are your guys assigned? Where do they work? What do their orders say?
But look where we are, right? Look where we are now. We started out in 2018. We had 16 teams. They were all installation teams. Even Buckley put together a little team to come down to Colorado Springs and be a part of the NBA, right? And we've grown to the point now where, I mean, these are some pretty unique circumstances and issues, but we have to define it, because if we don't define it, then, you know, you're going to have people from all over the place, you know, trying to play and be a part of something that this is not catered to them. So we had to establish some rules and some guidelines, and I don't know, but we check. I don't know about any other tournament, but you come to our tournament, you're gonna see a long ass line, and we're going to sit there and we're going to check. And that's just how it is. And if you're suspect or you're weighed in the balances and found wanting, you're not going to play. And that's even when I coached. If my guy didn't have an ID card, Jason's
Mike's
like, hey,
guy, let's say, I'll give an example. Mike's guy in Las Vegas left his ID card back in Colorado. He tried to hand me every piece of paperwork to show that he was legit, and I said nope.
And,
So
and
what did he do?
I said, I don't know.
He went over to Nellis. He had to go to
now.
Nellis Air Force Base and get an ID card and have him reprint him an ID card. And that's why. And when he handed it to me, it was still warm. But you know that's what he ate.
It actually was
fresh off the presses.
Fresh off the press, fresh out the box. But that's what he had to do because that's the rules. But hold on, Mike, to say what I was going to say.
Go ahead.
The installation process of selecting the teams or the teams putting themselves together is a baseline. We know there's going to be some changes and some variants across the country because all bases are not put in the same little box. And we know that. So we will handle each situation on a case-by-case basis. But when we say installation basketball, we're saying predominantly from your installation. You're not going to pull a guy from Meyers Henderson Hall and a guy from Quantico and a guy from Fort Lee and a guy from JBLM and then one from JBLE and one from Minot and put them all together and come play with us.
Yeah, because
that's just not that's not our core value.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm not a fan of that. Personally, and that's just me, but I think a lot of other coaches are not fans of pulling a whole bunch of people together from all over the country, and really it's not about your orders, it's about your boarding pass. I'm not about that.
So right. So don't get me wrong. There are tournaments that are open tournaments. Military basketball open tournaments. Hey, go play. No one's saying don't do it. I'm not even saying I don't like it. There are certain places to do certain things. We are a certain place to do a certain thing.
That's it.
You want to come play with what we're doing. You want the opportunity to win, a conference title, a Eastern or Western Conference championship, and an NBA title. You have to get in form and play by our rules. Now, again, our rules and bylaws are a living document that have been modified with the advice and suggestions of the coaches over the last 5 years. Okay, that's why we have the coaching conference. So like Mike alluded, we didn't start it, but we jumped on the coaching conference with the Oklahoma City Thunder, when Billy Donovan was coaching down there because they were offering it to all coaches. And I just thought it'd be a great place to get military coaches together and get some great insight from some NBA and D1 college coaches. And it's grown into our version of the baseball winter meetings.
Okay.
This is where we give our coaches the ability to get together, have some fellowship. If they can't make it in the past, they would get on a video chat and we would say, hey, this is our AAR, because everybody in the military knows what the AAR is. This is what went right. This is what went wrong. This is what we're looking to change going into next season. Does anybody have any suggestions? Or a coach would just come up and say, hey, this is what we think. We like this rule. We didn't like this rule. And we would, then put it in place and see what we could do about it. If the majority of the coaches didn't like something, then we modified. If the majority of coaches did, then we modified. So, it's based off of that.
That's a great question, Deontay. That's a great question.
What did he say?
He said, what happens when a service member base doesn't have a team and the nearest base team coach says he can't play? I think that's the reason why the basketball council and Jason and Al, that's why they have a job. At least, from my perspective, you got to bring those types of things to them and they'll figure it out.
So I got a short answer for that, Mike. And you're right. You're right. I
like Mo. I love Mo, man.
What do you think? It's really not that difficult. Yeah. I mean, again, if a guy goes to his next closest base, and we call it, look, in the Army, we call it the Ranger Circle.
Mm-hmm.
You start at a point, you start working your way out, right? So if he goes to the next closest base and that base says, nah, man, we're good, or that coach passes on him, because we have had that happen in the past, i.e., soldiers from Fort Sill that ended up playing with Joint Base. With Naval Reserve Base Fort Worth, because Shepherd Air Force Base players or coach passed. They said, hey, nah, man, we're good. We're good with what we got. So they may go to the next closest base. And we work and Ranger circle our way out from where you started. But we got to start with the closest one first. So to answer the Claiborne's question there is, yeah, you go to the next and then on to the next. Now, does that mean it's going to be hard to get to practice and or games or whatever? Yes, it is. But again, I didn't put you there. You have the opportunity.
You have the
we didn't put you there. Right. We're not saying you can't play. We're just saying, okay, this base doesn't want you or says, nah, I pass. Then you go to the next one and then on to the next one until someone finally says that, yeah, we want you.
Yeah.
Either that or you're just not that good and nobody wants you. But I can't help how you play or don't play.
And so basically what it sounds like, and when it comes down to it, is there's an answer. It may not be what is conducive to everyone. It may not, but there's an answer, and it becomes upon the person, the organization, the installations, and so on and so forth, which continues to be ongoing, and it's going to continue to be ongoing. And there's honestly no way to really fix it, honestly, seemingly.
No, there's a way to. We have fixed it.
Okay.
The fix is the powers that be on the operations side, on the basketball council side, have come together, and they did what was best. Based off the input that they've got and their experience. I mean, we got some really, I mean, there's a lot of people that that look at, what we're doing. They think that this is like a fictitious, or these guys that the people that are in the NBA leadership have been coaching military basketball or been around it for 15 plus years, right? So there's not a lot that is out there that we haven't seen now, but this is one of them. The whole joint base thing, or getting people together to play from 3 different installations, we had to look at that. Okay, we had to look at that, and then because the stakes have been raised. Guys are not playing just to play for the trophy, right? I mean, this is an opportunity to get your team, when you play in that game, on national television. Your base on national television. So we just have to make sure that process is fair, it's clear and concise, and the right people are making the right decisions about that.
So 2 things real quick. One, I wanna answer Claiborne's question, but like Mike just said, and I alluded to earlier, our bylaws are a living document, which means we don't know everything. We're gonna see certain things that pop up year to year that nobody thought of, even with the wealth of experience that Mike said of the people that have been around military basketball. Maybe you don't see something like that, so you got to address it. So it's a living document that gets worked on year to year, conference to conference, when we get the coaches together in August, September, and we talk about it. So it's not like, well, this is our way and there's not going to be a change. No, we're not like that. The joint base situation is a situation that's come up, right? Justin Johnson has been talked to by Al and been given options. Now it's that coach's decision on what he wants to do and how he wants to label his team. And GM, as I like to say, the coach gets to GM his own team and his players. So we'll go from there.
Listen, I was going to say, can you answer Claiborne's question?
Yeah.
I'm gonna comment on Justin Johnson. Go ahead.
So the question is about amount of games. So we did have that in our bylaws in this past season that just went by. Okay, and the amount of games was 3. That was last year, okay, because we figured some teams were playing 12, some teams were playing 16 games. That rule will still be in effect this year coming up, but all 3 conferences will be playing 16 games. The number of games minimum played to be eligible for the playoffs has not been determined yet. It will be at the conference because that is a discussion point with the coaches. And then based off of their input and based off of the council's input, we'll kick it around and come up with a number. But yes, there is a number of minimum played games in the conference regular season to qualify for the playoffs. To caveat that real quick, we do know people deploy. We do know people go to school. So those are potential exceptions to that. If a guy's on your roster but has been deployed the whole time and comes back right before the postseason tournament, is he eligible? Yes.
Yeah.
Because we're not the ones that took him away. He didn't just was there and just sat out the whole season. He was on a military mission. Okay. So what
I
do you say?
love
Gotcha.
Tay gonna have his questions at the coaches summit.
Hey,
Hey,
that's
that's good.
and that's fine
Hey,
because that's what it's for.
I got a shirt for you,
That's
Tay.
what the coaches conference is for.
Um, but what
So go ahead, Mike.
I was gonna say about
He said red
Red
shirt.
about
shirts. Jock boys said red shirts. Not
Right.
here, buddy. There ain't no red shirt, nobody here.
Ju- yeah, Justin Johnson is doing. He reminds me of how I got a
Y'all
chance to
talk. I'll
start.
be right back.
No, you good. How I started, just trying to put Fort Riley on social media and do all that. He's doing with the social media platform he has. I mean, he's doing a phenomenal job of marketing, his process and um, guys are worried about his team and he's worried about his team and what needs to happen is just, one, let's see where things land. Two, make a decision on participation, which I think he's done, to play in the league. But he's got talent in San Antonio.
Uh-huh.
He's got a lot of talent. So, you ain't gonna always get everything you want or everyone you want, but you definitely have all the pieces to have a phenomenal year in our league. And why not have? I mean, we're going into 2024 where the NBA season this year is probably going to be the best it's ever been with all the support and people that we've got going on. And as far as exposure, with snipback and all the different elements that are out there. So why not, be a part of that? And I think that's that's what's attractive to a lot of coaches. But I think he's doing a fine job. His tryouts and practice and stuff are good. He's got arguably one of the best guys in military basketball. So why wouldn't you see what happens and then make decisions based on that? But he's got a lot of factors that are going to make him competitive in the league. And
Mm-hmm.
so if it were me, um, you know, there was no NBA, there weren't all these rules and bylaws and all that stuff back when I was coaching. Um, um, yeah, Joint Base Phoenix. This is coming from the guy who's won the chip twice. Probably could have three-peated it.
Always looking for a way to
You
to
know,
continue to get better.
but I listen. You're a coach, okay? I'm a coach. If there's a way for me to get a competitive advantage, it's my job to try to do that and to exploit that. I've done that on the sidelines. I've done that off the court. Just with some mental preparation and just playing mind games with my opponent. But at the same time, um, it's just a different level now. It's a
just
different level.
just as like he's gonna cut that off. It's like, nah, Coach Paris, stop playing. Difference between claiming a name and having the name on your order.
Well, so the thing that I would say to that is, we just got to see the orders, man. I mean, and yeah, I mean that's what makes us unique. We're gonna check your orders. That's, I mean, and we can do that. There's nothing that says that we can't. Businesses do it all the time. Um, and
Coach Paris is
hey,
silly.
don't get yourself in no trouble now.
Yeah, he's like letting them show your hand. Like it's like now
Yeah,
now we
hey,
got now we
listen.
can hold the light up to the like wait, hold on, let's
Hey,
see.
listen. You hold the light up to it, and it look like it says Canon. You done Xeroxed it.
Kinkos. It's
Or
like
yeah,
what's going
but
on?
but no, I look. Everybody's jockeying for the stakes have been raised, and they've been raised all the way up until 2026. 2026, you know, two teams are going to get an opportunity to play on a grand stage. And so, yeah, I know, right, Jason? It's kind of funny. So,
I just no. I just read Paris's comment. Joint
so
base Phoenix. Who the hell is who's he jointing with?
well, he's Phoenix military basketball.
Oh, okay. Let Jamia hear that.
Yeah, be playing outside. But
Right, yeah,
no,
yeah. It's a little warm.
but look, I think honestly, I feel like all of our coaches are working hard and they're just trying to get a competitive advantage. And so the guys on the council, Al and Jason and them, they're calling balls and strikes. Or you can let me call balls and strikes, right? And that's not my role. That's not my function. My function is not to call balls and strikes. At least not with operations, stuff like that.
Hey, they did bring a great point, and I think Justin said it. Difference between claiming a name and having the name on the orders. If your orders don't say joint base, whatever, then you're not going to be classified in our eyes as a joint base. If your orders say Fort Sam, you're Fort Sam. If your orders say Lackland, you're Lackland. Now, watch this.
Joint base.
Let's talk about that real quick. Yeah. But if the orders for Fort Sam guys say Fort Sam, they're Fort Sam. Right. So it all depends on how he claims it and whatever. But in that situation where they don't say joint base, where it's an incumbent of all three or whatever, those guys from Lackland would just have to be claimed as exemptions for Justin. Now, that's Justin's choice on if he uses exemptions for those guys between Randolph and Lackland, or not, or he uses his, as it currently stands, his GS civilians, contractors, independents, and veteran for his exemptions. That's not our choice. That is for that coach to GM. He is in a fortunate situation where he does have other installations within the city limits, pretty much. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, if they classify themselves as Joint Base San Antonio and their orders say Joint Base San Antonio Lackland, Joint Base San Antonio Randolph, Joint Base San Antonio Fort Sam, then he has up to 22 guys he can put on the roster under the joint base situation. But again, that's his decision. And whatever decision he makes, he just has to follow through with the proof, with the documentation. And that's it. Because our orders, as Mike alluded to earlier, are our documentation for a validation process. So you can't say we're joint base X and then not have joint base on your orders.
Yeah, because when you get to the finals and you get to Jason and you've been playing all year, and then one of your players gives Jason some orders and they don't have no JBSA on it, I'm sorry. If you're playing under JBSA, mm-hmm. and so, but if you're playing as Fort Sam, and I see the differences in what's going on.
And we're just using them as an example.
I'm just using them as an example. But JBLE is in the same boat. If what happens if Eustis or something like that got a team, right? And I'm not saying that because JBLE is not even in, to my knowledge, I haven't seen anything that they're playing in the league this year. But if they did, right, if you're a joint base, you would fall under that classification. But that's two different MWR programs. Mm-hmm. Straight up, I walked the floor. I was there. I went to Fort Eustis. I was there. They have two different programs. So you got Langley and you got Eustis, mm-hmm. right? But they're joint base Langley Eustis.
But it's two programs, different.
And
programs.
then you got Norfolk, right? So
20 minutes down the road.
20 minutes down the road. So what happens when you come into our league and you combine all three of those bases, people are gonna be like, hey, that's not cool. So we had to put some guidelines in on that. Otherwise, your pool of talent that you get to pull from it's not equal to what everyone else has or it has the ability to do. And so that's all it is. It's just trying to make it so that everything is on the up and up and fair. And I think the majority of our coaches agree with the approach on that. I believe that that's the case.
So someone just said in which well, hold on before I go, because Mike has some reference. A lot of the JBSA situation has to do with what wings you fall under. Your orders can say JBS Lackland, but you actually work for Fort Sam Houston, which is interesting because as I look at jobs around here, right. We have what you call a passcodes that determine what building you physically work in. So it's really not that simple.
It's not.
Understood.
It's not.
Yeah.
So Mike, real quick. So let me say this. So like I said, every situation will be heard on a case-by-case basis. So we'll walk the dog. That's why, believe it or not, before this we got on, and I'm glad that Justin's on here now, because Justin, I did text you and say, hey, brother, when you get a free minute, give me a call because
Uh-huh.
this is what we want to talk about.
Mhm.
So I can talk about it here, or we can talk about it on the phone, or we can do both. It don't matter to me. But I did say, give me a call. So when I get off here, hopefully him and I can link up and we can walk the dog. It's a situation that just needs to be worked through. You know, we're not trying to hamstring people. We want everyone to be pretty much have the same opportunity. You know, and again, you have people out there, and we always go back to the GF civilian contractors versus active duty only. You know, some bases say you can only have active duty. Some bases allow their GF civilians and contractors to play. It's not going to be the same at every base, but we have to try to encompass all that and take it on a case by case and make it fair.
And contrast that with 2 or 3 years ago, where it was just me, Ace, and Jason making that decision, and really we kind of deferred to Jason because he's the conference commissioner, right? And so Jason was, but now we have our two Hall of Fame coaches, you know, making that decision on a panel with guys literally tabling something and saying, hey, let's talk about this. Let's see what's going on. What are the impacts? How's this going to affect this? How's it going to affect that? You know, what's this look like? So it's not that we're not putting this in a pipe and saying, hey, it's only one person streamlining and making the decision, or 2 or 3 people. It's being committed and so and counseled and talked about. And that's what you want in an organization. You want your idea or your concern or your issue or whatever your challenges are to go someplace and just at least be heard. And Mike is right. You know, I've seen the orders. I've seen JBSA Fort Sam.
Mhm.
I've seen that. I've seen just that they're all a part of a system down there, and it changed a couple years back where it's Joint Base San Antonio. That's what it is. It is Joint Base San Antonio. No matter what you say, you know, there's different, you know, star commands, GO commands down there, but it is Joint Base San Antonio. That is the way it is looked at, right? But there are different MWR programs that still exist, different FSSs that still exist within that military community. So that is a very unique situation, and we just have to make sure that, you know, it's fair, right? Actually, CMB, when I was coaching, because of the situation, we just wanted to make sure basketball was being played in Colorado Springs, right?
Mhm.
That was my goal, right? But when I look at it and people, oh, you know, you're trying to do, no, at the end of the day, we had to put things in a box and put things in perspective and make people, you know, place a flag down and say where are you pulling your talent from, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I can't just get the pick of the city, right?
Mhm.
That's when there are 5 installations in Colorado Springs, the city of Colorado Springs. And I think that's what caused a lot of consternation with a lot of coaches with the team that I had. So they put a cap on that.
Mhm.
I was about to say, so what we did with that was, well, not what we did, but Peterson Air Force Base came back in the conference this year.
Mhm.
They will be in the Central this year. So those players that were with CMB, because that was the only NBA organization at the time, are assigned to Peterson. That's where they're going to play. Right? CMB stuck their flag for personnel purposes at Fort Carson. Okay? So his exemptions will come from
The
the
other
surrounding bases
Got you.
minus Peterson, because Peterson has a NBA team.
Okay.
It's something we had to work through because, again, like I said, new things come up every year. We're trying, and again, not everything fits in a pretty little box with a bow on it. So we work through it. And like Mike said, you know, with me and Al, and then with the council on top of it, I mean, and those guys on the council have all coached military basketball, all understand the dynamic from different services. So that's why we have them like that. And sometimes you just need another opinion, a fresh idea on a situation.
Mhm.
Right. Exactly.
Fort Carson's not coming back. So great question, but they're not coming back. So, but CMB is the team in Colorado Springs, and that's
Just right now. Look, we'll say
right.
this. As of now, as of today, this is what, 7th of September, right? Al, have not heard from the Fort Carson team saying that they wanted to even participate in the conference, let alone the NBA. So, as it stands for this season, CMB and Peterson are the two teams in that area for this year. Now, what happens after this season? What happens going forward? There's a myriad of checkpoints and checklists that have to happen, right, for any team. And we'll walk the dog again if somebody raises their hand and says, hey, we'd like to do this. Well, are you an MWR program? Or are you just trying to start a separate program because of this, and this? Well, we already have one of those.
Yeah. So we'll
without going too much into it,
we're not
just saying
like
this,
for
this year, as of now, because of where we are in the game, we're a week away from the coaches conference and a month away from
well, Jason,
dates.
let me just do this real quick. And I know I'm gonna be very careful, but I'm retired now, so I'm not gonna sugarcoat shit. Okay. At the end of the day, things need to happen for that installation to come back. And so when they have a call with Jason and Al, then I'll have a conversation with the leadership on that installation, and then we'll make that happen. We'll cross that bridge when it comes.
But that's what I'm saying. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And as of today, Trey, I haven't got notified. I haven't even been told that they want to participate in the Central, let alone the NBA. So until and again, today's day, your platform, every social media, everything else, my phone number, I'm not going to reach out. I got all this other stuff going on. So they know my number to reach out. If they don't, they don't. And we move forward and we're okay. It's okay.
Yeah, I think what should happen is guys should just coach their teams, and worry about your team in your sphere in your foxhole, and let me worry about running the NBA and making sure talking to different things, because people speak on things and they have no idea like what's going on. They have no idea the background or any or history or any of that stuff, and they don't need to. That's not their business. And so at the end of the day, there are two teams in Colorado Springs, right? And there's CMB and there's Peterson, right? Believe me, that was vetted. That the right things happened, and Jason was contacted, called. Al was contacted and called. Both of them contacted me. Hey, we're good. That's fine. Let's go. The same thing. And I'm not talking about next year, Jason. I'm telling you right now. They can contact Jason and Al today and start the process of coming to the NBA today. They can do that today, but things will happen before that installation team comes back to the organization. But we're not keeping them out. I want to say that very loud and clear. I am not keeping Fort Carson out. What I'm saying is that the things that need to happen for that installation to come back in and be a part of this thing that we do called Military Basketball Association. Oh yeah, we coming to the table, and I'm meeting with the 06 or higher. You can definitely count my word on that. So I hope they come back. I like Fort Carson. That's where I retired out of, right? But things will happen before that happens, and so I want to be on the record as saying we are not keeping anybody out, but. At the same time, you can't be like, oh, they're keeping me out, and you can't pick up the phone and call the conference commissioner for, I don't know, 6-7 years, right? And don't have other coaches advocating for you. Be a man, pick up the phone and call somebody. And I'm not talking to just like the coach. I'm talking about anyone in that installation. If you want to play in what we're doing, we have the moral high ground right now to literally stand in the position that we're in, okay? If you want to be a part of what we're doing, contact Al and Jason and say, hey, we want to be a part of it. And we will start the process of that moving forward. But, don't run around and have coaches advocating for you, because we're not going to discuss that in OKC. It's not happening. It's not going to be a topic of discussion. Worry about your team. Coaches need to worry about your team. Focus on trying to play on national television. You know, that's what I would be doing if I was a coach right now and this opportunity was out there for me. I'm envious of all these coaches. If I was on a national, if I had this opportunity, man, I'd be in the gym every day. Every day, I'd be pushing my team. We have practice 5 days a week.
Hmm. So I hear Jason say, and actually both of you speak and talk about how there is this is one of the largest culture summits that y'all had from insertion. Is
Yep.
that indicative of the teams that are going to be in the NBA this year, or is that
So
more?
yes,
Yes. Okay. Go ahead, Jason.
yeah, yes and no. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not on cam because I'm driving right now. But so yes, due to the fact of the amount of teams we're having in the NBA this year, that is indicative of that, as well as other coaches that are coming for the information.
And
Okay.
that's what. Okay.
Now, right now, the thing I would say to caveat on Mike, which ties into the coaches summit, is the deadline for your verbal intent to play in the conference is next week.
Mm-hmm.
So, the doors close once we hit the conference. If you have verbal intent to play, then you have to wait till next year because schedules have to be built, things have to be done, and it's too much to undo all that work to turn around and have to redo it again. It's not fair to the other teams that have gotten their stuff together, made their verbal commitments, and got from there. So, Mike, go ahead from there.
No, I was going to say it's this is the to coordinate with Oklahoma City Thunder, the city and different people, and have these guys come in and Al's I think Al said he's got he's got over 26, 27 commitments of coaches. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's indicative of growth and
Mm-hmm.
organization, just like Coach Mo was saying. And I feel like what we do is we're trying to open the door for so many people to be a part of what we're doing, and that's that's everybody. There's a path for everyone, and sometimes everything is different. But what are we going to get at the coaches summit, right? I mean, this is the first time we'll be able to kind of make the sausage where we can probably have these seasons and stuff, outline who can host, who can't host, what weekends are blocked off, what weekends aren't blocked off. It's just a great it's a great opportunity and a great way to one, fellowship as coaches, and two, exchange ideas, because we don't have all the answers. I mean, we just don't. And guys who have done this before, get an opportunity to exchange ideas and say, hey, look, we think it should go this way, or I can't play this weekend, I want to play here. But we'll have all those coaches representing all those conferences in the room, and it's a really good, it's a good feel. It's a good opportunity, and hopefully we can grow it more. I mean, and then actually, what I'm going to ask the Thunder is, instead of going back to doing the actual coaches clinic, to where our
Okay.
coaches can actually have their players, or do demonstrations on the Oklahoma City Thunder floor. I'm going to ask them that. I think the response is going to be great, because military basketball is different. And I think there are some things that we do in our practices and in our training and in our prep that could help a lot of high school athletes. And that's what the coaches clinic originally was for in OKC. So I think why not? Why wouldn't we demonstrate how Marines do PT, how Army do PT? I would say Air Force and Navy, but I'm but no, how we all do PT, and how we all approach the game.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's critical that we show why what we do is important, how we do it. And I think the entire high school basketball system in Oklahoma City would come out and support that. So there's a lot of things out there that, because this is so big, that are going to help benefit everything, and benefit us in the future.
Okay, so let's get into this. I see, of course, across your chest, Paramount Veteran Network. If y'all seen the press release that
Oh,
was
that's a
released,
plug. That's a shameless plug by Mike.
Yes, I see. I
Goodness.
see. I'll pick it up where he's put. I'll pick it up where he's putting down. So
Yeah.
it
Jay, I got your shirt, so don't even worry about it,
that's
man.
what's up.
Appreciate you,
So
Mike.
so with the Paramount Veterans Network, of course, it was a multi-year deal that was signed. Can you speak to that in a bit? And what's that entail? What's that lead up to? How it came about? And all that type of stuff. As we see, Mo, with the growth, I assume growth is in this as well. So how did all this come about?
So first, Betty Diaz is the, our she's like the godmother.
Okay.
So she makes things happen. She makes things move. We met on LinkedIn, and then I didn't know she was that connected. But Paramount Veterans Network is the veteran organization under Paramount,
Mm-hmm.
and Paramount owns like CBS and all the different a whole bunch of other stations. So after some extensive work last February, we briefed them on the NBA. And I swear to you, this is all luck. We were talking to the senior vice president, and last May, she opened up the calendar, and I said, we want to play at 6 p.m. Central Time on CBS Sports. And she opened up the book, put her finger down, and the slot was wide open right before a WNBA game.
Mm.
And so we kind of kicked it around for a while, and then and so we were trying to get sponsors, and then she ran right into the NCAA tournament, so she couldn't get back to us. But she got back to us on the 30th after like a whole bunch of tech stuff and just trying to can the place where we're at, can they actually put a game on television? And it worked. And so the game was on TV, and they liked it, and it did better than expected, right?
Okay.
So no matter what happens, the Luke versus CNB game, the first installation varsity level basketball game in our organization, and probably ever put on national television, that did very well. And then Pluto got it and started, and now they're playing it on demand. So in our contract, it said, hey, you know, if you they notified me immediately, like I want to say June 27th. That's right, June 27th. They said, hey, we want to talk about renewal and agreement. All right, cool. And then I said, all right, well, I want to talk multi-year deal for the championship game. And they said, all right,
Mm.
cool.
Okay.
So so they locked that in with us for the next 3 years. And so now we have some opportunities to grow on that platform, but it gives our coaches something to shoot for and something to strive for. You know, it's you just want to go. That's the dance. If you tell me that I have an opportunity to get to the dance, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get to the dance. But when you actually get to the dance, right, then it becomes about winning, right? But to Alex and to Paris, they made history. They made history. I mean, volunteer basketball coaches playing on CBS Sports, same network that's going to bring you the Super Bowl next year, same network that brought you the NCAA tournament. The producer that we talked to um, actually does a lot of the NCAA tournament games. She's like over all of it. Um, and we have a partner with CBS. I mean, that is a very good thing for military basketball. And so that's kind of the deals of it. Um, but now it's going to be in Philadelphia, so we're in a major market,
Correct.
and stay tuned because we have a media event that's going to be coming up in September um, for the announcement in Philadelphia, and that's going to be big. It's huge. Partnered with the VA. It's a big deal. So I know a lot of guys get caught up in um, the ins and outs, some of these unique situations that we talked about. Justin's situation is very unique, and My hat's off to him. Other situations are a little more complicated, you know, and risky. And so, um, but at the end of the day, that's what's swirling around in my head is, you know, how does everything impact everyone else? And if there are good things for military basketball, we should be talking about them. We
Hmm.
should be focused on that. Um, you know, that's just how I see it. So
And of course, because in state, what it comes out to, of course, in in my my little efforts in the whole situation in reference to connecting military and all that type of stuff through via sports, which I think is a very a huge line. That the ideal is to continue to make sure that everyone looks at it like, okay, the NBA's win is a military basketball win in the sorts in somewhat of a sorts in which of course the same thing goes across the spectrum. The AAU men's and women's win is a win for military basketball. The NMBT win, getting anything is a win for military basketball, in which hopefully that's the rhetoric that continues to be echoed across the line. Where when it comes down to back to the question I initially said, in which if there's stank or not, you know what I'm saying, not to sit up and put a light, I hate to speak anti-advocate stuff, but if there's stank or whether it's a good situation that is seen that everyone is in it, but unfortunately, if there's stank on it, i.e., what we may hear from the coaches tomorrow or the people that speak tomorrow, is it predicated upon being a situation in military basketball, or is it just a one entity? In which, if it comes out to that, then of course you don't want to have it connected to everything if that's the case. So it's a
and
fine
that's the
line.
yeah, and that's the reason why you know, I have to handle things differently with some installations, right?
Hmm.
And so, you know, without getting into too much detail, you know, I have to make sure that I protect the brand always.
Correct.
And you know, me and Mo talk all the time about growth, right? Growth for me was stepping away from C&B. That was growth. It took a lot. A lot of people were like, "Hey, you should do it." You know, listen, I was a field grade officer in two key development positions when I started the NBA. Right when the NBA got started, I was working like, you know, my own boss told me, "You got to pick one, man." And I was like, "No, I love both." It's like you can be a great logistician, and I was like, and I can be the commissioner of the military basketball, and I can coach. And
Hmm.
the coaching part was my, but growth is saying, "Hey, listen, take your efforts in coaching and focus them on building the organization. Get your organization on national television." That's growth. Growth is stepping away, handing the keys to a very good organization in Colorado Springs to someone that I trust, and that has an exceptional resume in coaching, and giving that to someone and saying, "Hey, you take it now, because I have to focus on something else." And and literally just you know, separating myself from it and not looking at it. Um, um, yes, we will require coaches to be certified through USA Basketball. That was one of my first orders of business in 2024, summer 2024. But I would, and that's something that the coaches that'll come out in the next coaches summit in 2024. But growth is saying, hey, you know, some of these issues that kind of weighed you down, you know, you need to focus on the goal. And the goal was getting these guys on national television, right? If I can do that, then it brings me one step closer to the overall goal, which is funding military basketball. You know, reducing the cost that these soldiers and airmen, um, you know, have to pay out of pocket for these events. To my knowledge, and I don't know about, we are actively trying to do that. That is a very, very hard thing to do because you're basically coming with your hand out, right?
Hmm.
Well, now we're not coming with our hand out. We're coming with our hand out, but we're also saying, hey, um, we're on national television and we own that content. That's us. NBA's that basketball. That's stuff that we're putting out there. And um, at some point in time, I believe that we will attract enough support to fund everything that we're doing. So I love the energy and everything that the coaches are. I'm still working a job.
Hmm.
I went and got a job, as soon as I retired. So, I think that we're not there yet. We're closer than we've ever been. And, I think 20 years from now, people are going to be talking about us just like they talk about, you know, uh, any other organization that's successful, because we're only as good as the people that are volunteering to do what we do.
So now I have a question. Going back a little, backtrack a little bit. You just spoke on. We hear there's a slogan which y'all use, or which y'all calling yourself on. Keyword resiliency.
That's
And
right.
so I asked the question: was the reason why, additionally as well, was that a part of? Did the coaching provide a breakaway in uh, a lane for you to keep that resiliency going and keep you like grounded? Is that another reason why you was so hard
It
for you
was,
with
yeah,
release?
it was because, I am a combat veteran, right? My deployment, Jason was over there. He knows the deal. I mean, that shit sucked, and so I have my own demons and things that I deal with every single day. And that's the
Hmm.
reason why, I started coaching, right, in 2011, putting stuff on Facebook and trying to figure it out. Um, and I loved it,
Hmm.
and so if I'm focusing on trying to, uh, get prepared for Lackland and Cal's team when I was at Fort Hood, or, get prepared for Tony Jones when, some of these coaches that I've had to face, I wasn't focused on, you know, um, losing, 10 soldiers in 1 month,
Hmm.
or, going out the wire, and having this fear that I'd never come back, um, 66 to 70 times, right? So, um, that type of stuff is inside of me.
Okay.
I practice martial arts, I do all that stuff, but I do that stuff to stay grounded. So what I did, I took my coaching away, but then I really focused on my martial arts stuff. But
Okay.
listen, some very senior guys said, "Hey, look, you know, we're not telling you what to do. You're the commissioner. You and Ace, you guys, you guys, you and Ace and Jason and Al, you guys are sitting at the top, but um, you know, you need to step away." Snow was really the one that kind of pushed me over. Um, Snow was like, hey man, I feel you, I understand. But Snow, it might affect the league, man. What if I'm all in? He's like, nah, look, you really need to just they were like, just consider it. It was
Hmm.
always my decision. It was always my decision. Everybody respected that. But look where we are. I mean, my last year with CMB was in 2022, and 7 months later, I signed a deal with CBS Sports for our first game, and now within a year, it's unheard of. This is what Betty tells me all the time from Paramount. It's unheard of for an organization to get a multi-year deal on a national network in less than 6 months.
Hmm.
So we're doing something right. We're doing something right. I'm doing something right. I might be doing like 100 other things wrong, but I
But
think
there's something. Just that one.
maybe I'm doing that one thing right.
That one thing.
And I welcome the conversation with any of the other platforms. I talked to Mike and Dwayne, um, and they may, there's some things that they can't promote stuff sometimes,
Yeah,
and I understand
and
why.
that's
And
clearly one thing too. Like this is there's a difference, especially when you look at it. Because I
there,
look at my
yeah, there is,
yeah.
but they've talked to me offline. And they're like, man, this is crazy. This is great for military basketball.
Hmm.
And so, if in the future, if there's a way to kind of, take some of the other platforms that I'm doing and share those, or even give those folks the opportunity, we should. We should be trying to get as many teams in the NBA as possible to get on this platform. Every team should have the opportunity to play on national television, And we're not saying that we want to keep it at just the championship game.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that should be broadcast.
Markets.
We should have multiple games on different televisions with what we're doing. So, and that's in discussion now. So, we're just trying to make sure that everyone's happy, man. I mean, this is a very happy time. We've seen uniforms that look better than they've ever looked.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen the basketball being played at its highest level. We got a coaches summit in an NBA executive conference room with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Our coaches are going to be a part of that. So it's the list goes on. But we're just blessed, man, and I hope everyone else follows suit. I hope every team this year competes. Someone's going to win, someone's going to lose, but I think how you are, the way you carry yourself in that situation is what matters. And so we're professionals. Our coaches are professionals, all of them. If you're a first year, or if this is like your third or fourth year, you're a professional, and you should carry yourself that way. And I think you should just focus on your teams. Focus on those 22 young men that you're impacting, because resiliency is ultimately what we're all about.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of resilience, take a little different shift. Team USA just the other day lost to Lithuania. Although it's probably a little, at this point, it doesn't make a difference. Team USA lost to Lithuania. They came back in. They came back in and ended up getting the dub versus Italy. Do you think resiliency spoke to that, or do you think that it was just a situation to where Lithuania caught them slipping, hot shooting, length, height, and it put them in a bad sort? Of course, they're still currently going on to the medal round. So, do you think that was a wake up call or just a bump in the road for Team USA?
I mean, I'm not going to deflect that question. I would just say it's a bump in the road.
Okay.
NBA basketball is the best basketball in the world. Okay. So, there's a whole lot of talk out there about what FIBA is and what FIBA is and what FIBA isn't. They are physical in FIBA. But I think I really do think that it was a bump in the road. They got some great coaches on that team, but look, you can get beat. Okay,
that part you said. So someone has to win, someone has to lose.
Yeah, someone has to win, someone has to lose. If you come out like Lithuania came out and shot, oh, that's my man John. Hey, but when you come out and you
punch in the mouth,
they hit 9 straight threes.
Mm-hmm.
If you hit 9 3-pointers in the first half or whatever it is that they play now, you're gonna have a hard. It was 32-12 or something like that in the first quarter.
21-point lead at the first half.
Yeah, so if you're getting drugged like that, but they did make a comeback, and I think, to be completely honest, I think we have to look at just how good that team is.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's winning time, you're going to get a chance to see, half court basketball or how these guys play. And that's going to tell the story. That's going to tell the story, of what's important. I think they're going to win the whole thing.
I think they're safe right now.
Canada.
I think Canada. I see what Coach Daniel is saying about Canada being a threat. I think even now Canada is still a threat without Murray and Wiggins and Simmons and stuff like that potentially. But yes, I do agree. I think they're going to win the whole thing.
Hey, I'll say this real quick. Bottom line is, in international play, you got to lace them up. You ain't walking over nobody no more.
You got
to lace them up. You got to expect every game to be a tough one.
Yeah, they're not taking names in international play. But I want to address Dave's comment, because Dave They put a great comment out there, man. Listen, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Last year was tough for me personally. Okay, it was tough, a tough year, right? And um, yeah, there's people out there that would love for people to leave the NBA or do whatever, right? And Dave and I think a couple others, they probably got pressed pretty hard to, just do their own thing, go be independent or whatever. But they stuck it out. They stuck it out, and you know, because they stuck it out, last year was our greatest season. And we had Jason, how many teams we have in the finals last year? We had, was it 17? We had 17 teams. The year before that we had 14, right?
17 teams.
And we had 17 teams.
We started with 24.
We started with 24, and everybody, oh, I don't want to go. I can't play this in Kansas. I know this is a long ways away. All right, that's fair. All that stuff is fair, but
Things
the
happen.
guys,
We got it.
yeah, but guys like Dave, guys like um, Justin Johnson, some guys had to battle with their sports offices. Some guys, they were just straight independent teams. Like Miller and them, they uh, they supported their teams, but they supported the brand. They supported the NBA. And Jason can tell you, I've said this. I said the people that were with us during the storm, that's who they got first dibs, man. That's who I want to put in front of Paramount. That's who I want to put in front of CBS Sports, for some of the other ancillary things that we're doing to kind of market the brand and just tell their story. Because that's what it's about. I mean, if this is your first year, I want you guys to have a great year. We want to promote the league. We want to promote the brand. But the guys who stuck it out, like especially after last summer and all that bullshit, I appreciate that. It was that comes from a place of like a lot of love, because you could have just said, nah, screw it, I'm gonna walk away, which some people did. Some people said, nah, screw it, I don't believe, right? Yeah, you guys have a great platform, but I'm gonna take a pass.
Mm-hmm.
They
Hey,
didn't. They
hey.
Yeah,
Some
Dave didn't
some
do that,
people
and a lot
some
of other
people
guys didn't either.
also decided to come back.
And some people decided to come back. And here's the thing, to that point, Jason, that they came back, and I applaud them for that. But growth, okay, we're going to go back to that word growth, right? Growth is, I'm not keeping them out. We're not going to have anything like that. And Jason and Alan know that I said when we finished the finals over the summer, I said there's going to be a path for everyone. We want a path for every single person, every team out there to come and play, because the CBS experience, that was pretty cool. And this
Mm-hmm.
year they're completely handling all of the production. So it's going to be even better. It's going to look like an NCAA game, and so championship game. And so I everyone needs to have that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And so what my task to Al and Jason and Ace was, hey, how do we give everyone an opportunity to play, right? How do we get teams in the Southeast, teams in the Northeast, teams in the Northwest, all across the country? How do we give them an opportunity to play in? And Jason said, all right, here's what I think. And we come together and we pitch it to the council, and the council's like, all right, cool. And there's a path. There's a path for everyone. That's what Al was going to say if he were on this call, is every team, every military basketball team in the world should have a path to playing what we do.
And which, of course, it is, and hopefully everyone sees that and continues. And that hopefully, that's end state is, without the teams, there's no NBA.
That's
I
right.
think that's a fair assumption.
It's true.
So as always, and seemingly as always, the
So
smallest.
I'll get a contracting job. I'll go do something else. I won't or I'll go work in media. But no,
Yeah,
yeah, it's good.
it is always, which people fairly realize, is always the smallest entities of the situation that are the reason for the existence of of that institution for the most part. And so without the teams, there's no NBA. Or without the service members, there's no NBA. So it's and hopefully that continues to resonate and people see that, hear that, and recognize that.
So I want to tell you one thing, that you are absolutely right. Without the service members, there is no NBA. Without the coaches, without the players, without their sacrifice, without them doing what they do on some of these road trips, there is no NBA. Okay. Without the NBA, there's no platform.
Mm-hmm.
There's no platform like this where
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to put people. So there's a give and take there, for the very few people like the Tara Effingtons and the Melissa Eastlosses and the different people that run the NBA from behind the scenes and connect us to different business relationships that can make some of these things possible. Um, there's an advocacy on both ends, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that at the summit, where the coaches are empowered now.
Mm-hmm.
They have a platform. They got a
Mm-hmm.
logo. They have. They can take. They. You should be proud to play in this organization now, because you have an opportunity to play on national television and potentially after this year, multiple platforms on national television. And so, um, Snitback coming online now, and going to be doing some stuff for us as far as live streaming. This is a very, very exciting time in military basketball, and we need to empower our coaches to tell that story. And so that's so the platform is going to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Is going to grow, but we definitely have to make sure that we're speaking to our coaches and to our players, um, and to our ambassadors, because some of these coaches and some of these players do a lot more, and their story is not normal. And those are the people that we need to try to continue to push the platform. And like I said, John Morgan, man, that dude is an original. John, so just so you know, so because I know there's a lot out there about some of the things that I've done or I've
Mm-hmm.
said. John came to me, Coach Morgan came to me, um, with an idea about the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever hear me in any interviews or anything like that talk about the Hall of Fame, people ask, well, did you come up with this idea? No, I did not. I used our platform to highlight the idea of one of our fellow coaches, Hall of Fame coaches, um, and it's a reality. 6 years running now with Chief Grant, sitting as the chairwoman of the Hall of Fame. It's going to be even bigger this year, right? But that was a very small idea that he just mentioned to me, and I said, man, we could make this work. Let's find out who these people are. And I was like, let me see if I can get his Blazers, and it just. But again, that's somebody who picked up the phone, gave me a call, said, hey, this is what I want. I would like to see this happen. And I'm like, all right, no problem. And if other people want to do that, they can. None of us are going to bite your head off. None of us. I mean, Jason might, but but none of us are not approachable.
Hey,
We're
hey,
all
hey.
we're all approachable, and I think I think it's just a great time to be a coach in the NBA, man. It really is. So
Yes, indeed. Let us know what's going on with you, brother. Glad to see information with us this morning. So I asked this, getting ready to shift. We're in a whole new stratosphere now. Football is back, but I asked this question: what are y'all's takes on the Colorado?
we're gonna see this week.
Yeah, that part, or this month. In my opinion, this month, if they run the gauntlet this month, then they have my full respect. In any case, but what is the takes on Colorado? Do y'all see them as legit, or they just caught again one game any given Saturday, and that was the case?
What I heard was that they don't have the players.
Go ahead, Mike.
I heard
I'll say after you. I'll speak after you.
I heard they don't have the players to sustain, the wins. I think, but at the same time, you know, just because you say you don't have the players doesn't mean you don't have the talent, right? They don't have the name talent, but they got talent. They did something right because
Mm-hmm.
they beat TCU. But I think, um, look, the bandwagon is going to stop when they catch their first L. And if they don't catch any L's, then Deion Sanders is the greatest basketball coach that ever lived,
Mm.
or football coach that ever lived. He's the greatest coach that ever. To me, if he's able to come in to a team like Colorado, and people don't know, Colorado back in the day, they won a national championship.
Yes.
Let's not get that twisted, okay? So yeah, people don't like coming up to Boulder or whatever, but once again, my state is at the center of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's a lot of hype, and then we're gonna see what happens when they catch their first L.
Jason. So one of the things before Jason, while Jason is so one of the things in which I look at, and everyone continues to say the fact that, and I said it yesterday, but everyone continues to say that he's taking a 1-11 team. He's taking a college that went 1-11, in my opinion, because the team in which went 1-11 is no longer there. 90 new players, 64 of them out of the portal. So I just look at that, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm a hater because I'm a USC fan and they're in the same conference and they're going to play each other on September 30th, which now it adds, saying Caleb Williams started out as potentially possibly being a back-to-back Heisman Trophy winner. Shedeur Sanders showed him that is someone else that's out here that's trying to claim the fame. Travis Hunter, I'll be honest. When I look at Travis Hunter, I don't know if I'm impressed or not. I'm not. He's talented, without a doubt. He's talented, but I just don't know yet. And in which I say, so I would look at Shedeur Sanders as more of a Heisman hopeful as opposed to Travis Hunter. But I mean, we'll see. We still got 13, 14 more games to get that out there. But Travis Hunter definitely is a talent without a doubt. Hence the reason why he was the number 1 overall recruit just a year ago.
You're going to find out about Colorado when they get hit with adversity.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bottom line, is, and
Mike,
you're,
real quick.
and you're going to find out about Coach Prime, and how he handles adversity.
Let me say this real quick. Stop getting excited, everybody. It's one game, first and foremost. It's one game, and I know they hyped it up as TCU, the team that was in the national championship last year. Guess what? They lost a ton of starters. That is not, nowhere was or is the same team that was in the national title game last year. Even though they didn't.
But we know that.
But hold on. I got it. But you got people out there, you got sportcasters out there, because that's their job, is to hype up that big one. Now, with that being said, are they an unknown? Yes, because of the way that Deion brought all them players in. Yes, Trey, it is not the 1-11 team that was there last year. They were predicted to win 3 games this whole year, okay? My opinion, they'll win 6.
Okay? Yeah, they get the bowl. They get into a bowl game.
They showed the first week that they could compete on that level, even though, to me, it was a shell of a TCU team. But, like you said, Mike, we'll see what they do when they hit some adversity. Now, knowing Prime and how he is, they're not going to fall apart, but they're going to get punched in the mouth and they're going to have to figure it out. They're not going to go undefeated. They're not just going to sweep through everybody. But, I got the feeling this year at least they have a chance to put Colorado, at least a little tiny speck, back on the football map. And I'll pause there because I got to deliver this food.
I'm telling you right now, okay, I'm not doubting Coach Prime.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Cause I know what it feels like when people doubt you, right? I know how that feels. So, and all I do is come back and show you better than I can tell you. And so, I think that what is going to happen is they've made an upset, but let's dive into that upset, right? TCU lost a hell of a lot of people, and they only won by 3.
Mm-hmm.
It was a high-scoring game.
2 interceptions in the red zone.
So what I'm saying is that this is the big leagues. We're gonna find out just how good this team actually is, and then we're gonna find out if if Coach Prime is going to be able to deliver to the people of Colorado, because these are some very, very loyal fans. They are, they love. I mean, this place in, I mean, it is like it's. I mean, I was just in Denver last week when they won,
Uh-huh.
and it is like it's a madhouse. And
Okay.
and Nike is making a killing off of all these bandwagon fans buying college. They don't even know. Ain't no. They're not. There's not. I haven't even seen any Buffaloes in Colorado.
Marketing is a
They're
monster.
they're making a killing on that, right? And so, let me see whiteboard material. He said he's winning 8. Yeah, they're not gonna win no national championship, man. But you might play this, in freaking February or whenever when they do the national championship, and maybe they're in it. I don't know. I don't think so, right? But here's what I do think: the Alabamas, the LSU's, the Clemsons that went down last week, the Georgias, y'all aren't noticed, okay? You're only as good as where the best players go play, right? So what Prime is doing is he's attracting talent. He's a magnet for people to come to his school.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you've been to Boulder. I've been to Boulder. That's not a bad place to be. Like, it's nice. Like, it's nice. I mean, it's cold. It got snow. I mean, it's Boulder. It's Colorado, but still, it's like if you got to go to school up there and you're playing in the elevation, I don't know. But the only thing I would worry about is if when he loses a game and how they handle it. And if you handle it like immature, then
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
then the fans are going to come out, and their fans are going to it's going to hurt. It's going to cost. But it's a small school. I mean, he's too big for that university. So they didn't even have the money to pay him. They finally got it, right? So is he going to win 7 or 8 games? No, I don't think so. I think he's going to probably win about 6.
Yeah, I think they're going to get into the gold bag by winning 6. It's going to be tough, especially when you look at in their swan song, Pac-12 currently.
What if they lose every game the rest of the season? They go 1-11, just like last year.
My goodness, that's not going to be good.
Who is that? Oh, you had somebody in the system.
Someone that's following me on Twitch.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, man. But no, hey, man, you're doing great. You're doing great. Love the show. Like I said, we've talked privately about what I think, and I feel like you're doing a lot for military sports, and if I can help in any way with any of the connections that I have, I definitely would love to do that. And you recorded this. Mo, I don't think you want that, man. I don't know, Mo. Listen. I don't know, man.
Before we get ready to get up out of here, of course, we know Thursday night is going down. Kansas City hosting Detroit. Detroit has been the darling for the last 2 years in the NFL as they have made their mark slowly but surely, coming up from the ashes, and now here on center stage, a primetime game to kick off the NFL season against last year's Super Bowl champion. Although, as we just talked about, teams are not the same. Kansas City is not the same as they were when they won that Super Bowl. Who's your picks for this week, for tonight's game?
Kansas City.
Kansas City, man. I ain't never gonna pick against Kansas City.
Hold on. I'm here. Listen, I'm here. All right. And even with Kelsey being injured, look, after what they lost going into last season, and everyone was like, oh, they're not going to be as good. They're not going to do this. Patrick Mahomes doesn't have any receivers but Kelsey, blah, 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 blah. And they still won the Super Bowl. As long as Patrick Mahomes is on that field, the Chiefs have a chance. And then you put it in the loudest NFL stadium in the country at home to open the season, unfurling the banner and all that. That alone is going to take the chance. Now, Is Detroit going to give them a shot? We'll see. We'll see how Kansas City's defense holds up. But I don't expect Detroit to go into Kansas City tonight and win that game. And if anybody out there wants to put that bet down, 816-248-2918. Call me, and I'll gladly take that bet with you tonight. Now, I'm not a diehard Chiefs fan, so don't get it twisted. I ain't speaking from a fan's point of view. But the Chiefs are good enough to win this game tonight. And I'll leave it at that.
Chiefs missing 2 top-tier talents, one on the offensive side, potentially one on the defensive side. But like you said, it's not expected. But we could see, I'm very sure no one picked Clemson to lose to Duke, yet here we are.
But that's college football, Trey. That's college.
True.
And you're talking Clemson Duke. You're not talking Alabama Duke. You're not talking, Georgia. You're talking a 2-year, 3-year removed Clemson team that's nowhere what they were.
True.
I mean, there's no way. Look, what's the line? The line dropped down to 4.5 on this game. It was 7. So somebody's putting money on Detroit. But at the same time, they don't win this game tonight. Not tonight. Maybe later in the season if they play, but not tonight.
Not tonight. So, of course, as always, it's been a pleasure. NBA Commissioner Meyers, Tri-Conference Commissioner Jason, greatly always appreciate having y'all on. Please, any last words before we get up out here? Wait, before y'all say that, don't forget, just a little less than a week away, the All-Star game in OKC. Y'all have heard about it. Y'all heard you speak about it. Coaches, if you have an opportunity in which you have after watching now or after seeing this at some point, just a little time, you got a little window to get into, slide into the window to even maybe get the chance to get some information or become a part of the NBA. As you hear, if you hear the good things going on, y'all hear it right here. He said his number a plethora of times, how to get in contact, who to get in contact with.
I used to do that. I don't do that no more. I can't do that because
if Mike was on a business meeting with a bunch of potential corporate sponsors, he'd be handing out his number like it's licorice.
like it's licorice. But because Jason seen me do it. But
yes,
I will not. But I think the final thought, man, just so everybody's is clear, we are a big tent. We want to grow the tent. We want to make sure that everybody is able to come and play in the NBA. We're focused on growing the different conference teams in the Northeast and in the East Coast, the HCNBC. We're looking at that really hard because the more teams that come in, the shorter distance to travel. So, yeah, if you guys have something that you want to, if you have a question, you can contact Al or Jason. Jason put his phone number out there, but we definitely want to, stop giving your number, Jay. We definitely want to just let everyone know that we're inclusive. It's a big tent, and there's a path for everyone. There's a path for everyone.
Nobody called.
So, again, guess the last words, Jason.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's gonna be a great season. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to the coaching conference. You kind of stole my thunder, Trey. I was gonna talk the conference, and again, the verbal intent window is next week. So again, if there are any coaching potential teams out there that's still looking to potentially join the NBA, I need to know before next week's up, and we get to the conference because that's when the window will be closed. Besides that, I'm just again excited. Military basketball has already started again. Luke held their tournament last weekend over Labor Day.
Congrats
to Luke Air Force Base for winning that. A lot of competitive teams early on. I'm looking forward to all these new teams that we have coming in. We got teams like Fort Knox, Fort Gordon, Wright Pat Air Force Base. Those are teams that have not participated in the NBA since our existence that have decided to make the jump for whatever reason. Just looking forward to a great year this year.
Hey, and Trey, that's a great coach right there. You get Coach Brandon on, man. that dude should be. He's a Hall of Fame coach, man. That guy is really really good, and I watched him do some really great stuff at the Capitol Classic a few years back. And we wanted them to come out to Colorado, and they ended up going to San Antonio our first year. But um, to say Wright Pat is in the NBA,
Mm-hmm.
like that's like locked in. That is a huge deal. So the off season has been very blessed for us, and I think this is going to be our greatest season. It's going to be our greatest season.
Of course, like I said, be sure to tune in. Might tap in tomorrow, depending on what I got in, but you're definitely going to be able to tap in at 1800. Y'all see it, first formation, the COB close of business evening show. So y'all be able to check it out. Hear what's got to be said. Like I said, I don't know. I have all plausible deniability to
What time is that? What time is that at?
6 p.m. 6 p.m.
Oh
6
man,
p.m. tomorrow.
catch me when I get off. When I get off work, man, I'm watching, man. I'm gonna be tuned in.
So we see what's got to be said. Greatly appreciate having y'all gentlemen on this morning. Greatly appreciate those viewers that came on. Of course, anytime, always looking for content or anything to sit up and speak. Feel free to reach out and holler at your boy. It's Trade the Commissioner Meyers from the NBA. Jason just dropped off. Y'all enjoy y'all Thursday. Kansas City, Detroit, we'll see. We'll talk about it tomorrow most likely. Y'all enjoy your day. Peace.